Thanks for joining us on Key Factors, presented by theraceguide.com.au. Stu, Rich and Mike Wood here to take you through a big weekend's racing at Rosehill Gardens for the listed Winter Challenge this weekend. But I tell you what, Mike, it doesn't feel like winter out there. 26 degrees Sunday, I think. The shorts are going to be out.
Yeah, unbelievable. 21 degrees on Saturday as well, so it'll be a fantastic weekend. Punting on Saturday, beach on Sunday. Sydney weather.
Yeah, and look, we're wrapping up this Jockeys Championship. I mean, how good's this? We've had Brenton of Dulla midweek with Huey Bowman coming up on the outside. He was on quick defence, special missile. Of Dulla said, no, you're not getting past me. He went away for a win. Huey Bowman comes home. He's 2.5 clear this weekend. Do you reckon that's enough?
Yeah, it's a pretty big margin with one meeting to go. If you trust the market odds, they're expecting Abdallah to get one win only and Bowman to get 2 wins, so that should do it for him, obviously. But race 3 could be the key race. Abdallah on the Pharaoh, Bowman's on one of the favourites. That's where Abdallah could make his move.
Well, that's where he could make his move. We've got to make our move on the quaddie this weekend. Let's start with the first leg. It is the Schweppes handicap over the 2,000 metres. And we mentioned that man Bowman. I mean, he's been put on Zorcan and, well, Abdallah, he gets the Kim War-trained King Viv. And this horse, I mean, named after the great cricketer Viv Richards, the great racing analyst beside me, Mike Wood, you loved him last start. What happened there?
We absolutely loved him at huge odds, didn't we? We backed him each way. He came fourth. That's punting, isn't it? Let's have a look at the way he sets up in this 2,000 metre race on Saturday. Fair to steady tempo, good 3 conditions and a fair bias to kick us off. We're hoping with the rail true it will be a fair bias on Saturday. Obviously it will be dry with that weather. Across the 3 key factors, a good track's got to be a key factor for this race and many of the other races on Saturday, which these winter horses like a dry track. The 2,000 metre distance as well. And stage of preparation, which horse is getting fitter and can win. All
right, well, let's have a look at the market here for the first leg of the quaddie this weekend in the Schweppes handicap. And, well, look, all of Waller's runners, all his 6 runners, they're all pretty prominent. But it's Zorcan there on top, $4 from Vaucluse Bay, one of the last start winners there, in Costa Line for Waller 2. And there's a consistent Life of Brian and Magical Stance there in behind. But look, an informed Melbourne raider here, Mike. Starting favourite, Zorcan, in the first leg of the quaddie.
Yeah, he's racing so well this prep, isn't he, for Waller? He hasn't raced for a while. We're not going to look at him. His last win in Melbourne was quite good, betting in Costa Line. But we'll look at a more familiar race, a 2,000 metre Rosehill race a couple of weeks ago and see which of these informed horses we like. Starting off with Magical... This is actually Magical Stance from last year. We're kicking off with a year ago, same track, same distance. Coming into this race on Saturday after no luck last start... We wonder how he goes over 2,000 metres behind a pretty good horse here. And he goes all right, doesn't he, Stu?
Yeah, I mean, this is basically a win, isn't it? Esteban out in front here, but Magical Stance just 3 off the rail here, coming through in the white hat. Yeah, look, chasing a really good horse here, take nothing away from a placing.
Yeah, absolutely call us a win, wouldn't you? Yeah. Chasing a freak and back up to 2,000 metres on Saturday. Only one of his last 10 starts has been on a good track. This horse will love it dry.
All right, and the other replay that we're going to look at is Life of Brian and King Viv. This is the day the money was on King Viv for us.
Yeah, this is the one. This is the 4th. We've got to watch again. He was a safely held 4th, I guess, but the thing to note about this replay is Life of Brian's out there wide in the dark blue colours. King Viv's ridden along, chasing pretty well. They're 2 of the only horses all day to make ground that far on the track at Rosehill that day, so they're both honourable runs.
Yep.
Life of Brian betting him home this day, though.
Yeah, betting him home. I think you've summed it up there. They're the ones that made ground. Life of Brian's so consistent to the end. What's this last 100 metres like at King Viv? Where do you see that?
Yeah, so important. We think he's a stayer. Kim Moore, like we said, she thinks he's a stayer as well. He just peaked late, so maybe he needs the run. We still think he's a stayer. All
right, well, let's see if the key factors can sort any of this race out a little bit more.
Straight away, you'll see Zorcan there, 2,000 metres, good, but we'll look at his stage of preparation in a second. The 3 good trackers, Vaucluse Bay and Costa Line and Magical Stance, we talked about before. They'll love the dry ground. Look, you can rate King Viv yourself, but the big striding type, we think the 2,000 metres will be okay, given he's fitter now. So stage of preparation's a big gold bar for him. 15 to 2,000 metres last start. He'll be fitter now. But Zorcan, what do you do with him? About 50 days since his last run. So hard to pick.
Yeah, right. About June 10th there since the last time we saw him. So that's definitely a key factor there to play out. Let's have a look at these overall ratings. And, well, I'm guessing Zorcan won't be on top from what you're saying there. Here we are. It's Magical Stance on top for Ronnie Quinton and his pupil Andrew Adkins. He's there on top. And the best of Wallers, well, Vaucluse Bay, not too far behind.
Yeah, Vaucluse Bay, terrified of the 3-year-old. Such a big win last start, back to his home track for the first time, chasing down a bit. He could easily win this race, but the 2 that we're going for are big each-way odds. Good types. We think will love the 2,000 metres. Magical Stance. The way he's weighted, he just wins this race on his best ratings.
Right.
He doesn't win that much, so maybe back him each way. and we'll give King Viv one more chance.
Another go.
Second time in the 2,000 metres. He's still great odds.
All right, well, there's a look at the first leg of the quaddie. No favourite there in that one, so there's an interesting start. The second leg is the Winter Challenge. It's a listed race of the day. And look, most of this form coming through the Winter Stakes. And I mean, what a blanket finish it was that day. We had the Wet Tracker slightly sweet going on to win, but a few unlucky runners. Gold Symphony, I mean, it finished 11th, only 2.1 lengths away. And we're looking for some form outside of this, and we've got Leopari and Sultan of Swing down the bottom. They've got a little bit of form, but there was only not too much between these two as well. So how do we line this up?
Can we skip this race, Stu? I mean, God, just pick a number out of a hat, 1 to 11, and move to the next race. Listed race, 1,500 metres. Let's see how we go. Look, there's no tempo in this race. Only a steady tempo engages, makes it even harder. A good 3 conditions and a fair bias we talked about before. That's the forecast. Across to the 3 key factors. Distance will be small margins here, so maybe the 1,400 metres to 1,500 metres will make a big difference. Stage of preparation, which horses are fitter and ready to win, and position in run. Getting luck in this race will make so much difference when they're closely matched. All
right, well, let's have a look at this market. And I mean, Gold Symphony went off favourite last start, but it was interesting to see here. Surprisingly not, they're all around that $10 mark. But Gold Symphony, like I said, went off favourite last start in this sort of form line. The money's already come again. Leopari, God, just keeps going for a while of this prep, doesn't he? Classic Uniform, the big roller, and some big bets as well. For as much as $14 into $7.50. Shiraz, Sultan of Swing, slightly sweet. Not the big price of last time, but look, punters have got to have a real good think in this race.
Yeah, you've got to have a really good think and look at the form with a lot of detail. It's such a hard race to pick. And look at this replay with a lot of detail, maybe 4 or 5 times, because so many runners come through this race. I think at 9, isn't it?
Yep.
So let's bring it up and see if we can make head or tail of this very closely matched race. There's 5 of them picked out there. Elu back from Queensland, running on quite well. Slightly sweet, getting a nice run behind Classic Uniform, peeling out to win. Shiraz coming out late and biting one of the other horses, did he?
Did too.
And there's Very Delicious too. So if we switched across the other 5, Snippets Land and Gold Symphony, when we roll it a second, you'll see they have absolutely no luck for the Snowden stable. And Classic Uniform, he was 4 wide, no cover the whole way. But he's one of those horses, Stu, isn't he? Just so brave.
So brave, just keeps coming. But look, slightly sweet, had the little drop on him there. Comes around his outside. She wins the race, does well. We've got to look, the Halo's just said it. We're looking everywhere in this race.
Yeah, so many horses so close together. We keep saying Snippets Land, very unlucky though, and Gold Symphony unlucky as well. So yeah, there are 3 horses that you could say were distinctly unlucky that race compared to the rest.
All right, and there is that one other form line we need to look at. That's Leopari and Sultan of Swing. So let's have a look at the last time these two matched up.
Yeah, only on one other race to look at, isn't it? You've got the whole field sorted out. So let's bring up the 1,600 metre race with Leopari and Sultan of Swing. Leopari out there in the red cap. Sultan of Swing probably had every chance this day. Box seat, steady tempo, on pace bias, but maybe he's better on a good track. Leopari got the points this day.
Got the points in the red hat, just coming now. Look, just hits the line. Like I said, Waller's just got this horse going so well. I think he went on to win since this, and great.
Yeah, typical Waller horse, isn't he? Chases every start, hits the line, so consistent.
Well, I think we've seen just about every runner through those 2 replays. Let's have a look at these key factors and see if we can make some sense of it all.
Well, we know the form's pretty similar, so the key factors will make the difference. Let's start with negatives. Leopari. Look, the wide barrier is potentially not ideal for him. He wants to be midfield, but he might have to go back. Shiraz, 1,500 metres, has to be a risk. He could peak on his run. And Extensible, so well suited in this race on Saturday, but maybe they're going to the well just one too many times with this mare after long preparation. Classic Uniform, 2 gold bars. Third up, leading on his own.
All right, well, 2 gold bars there for the big roller, Classic Uniform. We can see why the money's coming. Let's have a look at these overall ratings. And just remember, there were 2 lengths behind in between a lot of these last start. And, well, this is telling me there's about 2 lengths again between the top 8 there. So it's another blanket finish predicted.
Well, if we predicted anything else, you'd think we were mad after watching those replays, wouldn't you? They obviously have to be close together in this race. And when you look at this race on paper, you think it's terrible, it's impossible to have a bet in, but we think we found 2 that are a good price to bet on for different reasons. Starting with Classic Uniform, you know he's going to lead, You know he's reliable, you know he sticks on. Maybe he doesn't have the sprint to definitely be a win bet. He's so reliable. He's a great place bet, $2.53 bucks. That's a great bet. The place markets are often underplayed. And Snippets Land, 2 starts track and distance, both 4th in Group 3 level. He's a great bet too. All
right, so we know Classic Uniform's going to give his all. There's a look at the second leg of the quaddie at Rosehill Gardens this weekend. Stick around and we'll wrap it all up after the break. Welcome back to Key Factors, presented by the raceguide.com.au. We're up to the third leg of the quaddie this weekend for Rosehill Gardens, and it's the ATC thanks to our owners handicap. Geez, the owners, Mike, I'd love to get back into that owner's stall one day. But look, we need a few quaddies first. There's a few trainers in this race I'd love to give my horse to. I know they do a good job, but some really underrated ones too. I mean, Most Exalted winning for Mac Griffith after leaving the James Cummings yard. The same formula they used for Pera, and that worked out pretty well for Anthony Cummings.
He worked really well, didn't it? Second in the country championships, that horse. Obviously, they're clearly innocent. It's a great form line, so maybe this horse is going the same way. We'll find out. Benchmark 85. 1,350 metres, steady to slow tempo only. What a messy race this looks like on paper. Listen for riding announcements, but we can't find a leader. Good three, fair bias. We talked about across the three key factors. They picked themselves in this race. Power, you need to turn a foot and the ability to sprint to win this race. Position and run, you need to be in the right spot. And we'll throw in stage of prep as well.
All right, well, a real mix of form coming into this third leg of the quaddie. Let's have a look at the market. And I mean, it's Pick Me Up back in the winner's circle last start. He's the only one they want, really, into $3.60 there. More to gain. I mean, a swooper, so consistent last prep. Heady Heights, Wild and Famous. Well, look, they both disappointed to mine last start. Embley, a little bit of support for Baker. Mogador, a little bit of support there off the Morny run. So, look, Pick Me Up on top, but they've also come for a couple of these just down the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, a really wide open market, apart from Pick Me Up, who was solid last start, wasn't he? I think it was last week, 1,200 metres. He got the right run a couple of weeks ago and got the win. We're not going to look at that. We're going to look at a couple of really left field replays, starting with Rock Milady, first up, last prep, and see what we make of this galloper, who you don't think races that well fresh, but when you look at this replay, you might change your mind. Sonic Swish out wide for Waller, getting every single chance here, like he did first up a couple of weeks ago and came only ninth. But back to Rock Milady. All about that horse, Stu.
Oh, I'm just umming and ahhing now. If you're on it this day, you've just been hard done by in the red. Just couldn't get a run. Finishes on the back.
Almost should have won. Proved it was no fluke. Just finishing behind the placings next start over 1,350 metres at Rosehill. But that was a strong tempo that day, which helped that galloper.
Okay, no luck for that horse. Let's have a look at a horse that does get a bit of luck. And this is Most Exalted, the one for Mac Griffith we were talking about. Out the back, it's highlighted there, so it's just as where it just pushes to the rail and, well, slices up.
Yeah, every time you take this right as a jockey, you finish in a dead end, don't you? But this time the apprentice took the risk. It drifted in the market, which suggested they weren't going to push forward this day, and obviously he went back, found the gap up the inside, first up for the trainer after leaving the James Cummings stable.
Here he comes.
Finishes hard, doesn't he?
Yeah, right up along the rail there, and that's 1 from 1 for Mac with this horse, so great start to his edition as well.
Yeah, obviously going well.
Well, let's have a look at these key factors. We've seen a couple of replays there. Let's sort it out.
Well, you've got to start looking for those horses with the rosy turn of foot, the power to win.
Okay.
Pick Me Up, a big, strong, muscular type who can quicken at Rosehill. Wild and Famous as well. We know he can quicken and has a good sprint. Wild and Famous, one of the only ones you know will be near pace. So many questions across the board for the rest. Heady Heights third up, that suits her, but maybe the steady tempo doesn't. Yeah, Pick Me Up, obviously a standout, and more to gain from the back. Maybe not his race.
All right, you said you found two horses there with some real rip. That's what we need at Rosehill. Let's have a look where those two horses are. Pick Me Up and Wild and Famous. Well, no surprises to me there. They're the two on top. There's Mac Griffith's Charger, down from Mudgee, not too far off. Most Exalted. And hang on, there's another Mudgee trainer in here as well. Richard's the first. That's at any old odds, right up in the ratings.
Yeah, shot up the ratings, hasn't that? That's a horse that can race nearer the pace. He's won at Rosehill before, and he was 3 wide, no cover, carrying 64 kegs of Mudgee last start. So
the Mudgee form.
If you can't forgive that, you can't forgive anything. We're going across to the best bets. We're going to go with Pick Me Up.
Yep.
Drawn wide, which means they can push forward if they want, which with his form lines you think they would. Go forward, back them off quick and well. He's a really hard horse to beat. And Richard, the first of those odds, each way all day. He's won at Rosehill before. All
right, so we've got a favourite, a well-supported favourite there, and one at any old odds. That's always good for a quaddie leg. There's a look at the third leg. Let's wrap it up with the last leg of the quaddie, and it's the New South Wales Racehorse Owners Association Trophy. This is for the mares. This is a massive quaddie killer for mine. Save for the last for the girls. A lot of informed mares here with Rustic Melody, Loves a Fantasy, Awoke coming off wins. But a few of these, we've got Girl Sunday, Ruby Rampart, Queen Misty, they're all desperate to break through, Mike.
Yeah, in case you haven't sensed it, it's a tough quaddie and they've saved the best till last. This is a genuine quaddie killer in every sense of the word. Benchmark race, 1,500 metres. At least it's going to be a fair tempo. There's a few apprentices down in the field which should push forward and make sure it's a fair tempo, good 3, fair bias we talked about before. Across the 3 key factors, which of these mares like the dry track? That's the first key factor. Some of these mares are quite up and down, which is rare for the mares, so we'll play reliability. big field, position and run's going to be one too.
All right, well, let's hope all the punters out there are still alive for the last leg of the quaddie as we have a look at the market. And we've got an up-and-coming horse for Godolphin here in Philosophy at $4.40. Awoke, here's this for a go, went up $15, absolutely smashed into $5.50, one of the best goes of the day. Long time ago for Gay, the Gaybot training partnership there at $5.50. Then a really big gap out in the market here to Girl Sunday, who had every possible chance last start. It's So Obvious for Greg McFarlane, another improver, but the money here is for Awoke, Mike. Got to love one of these big Saturday plunges.
Yeah, Waller at Rosehill, why not have a plunge? And obviously it beat the Pharaoh, which races in race 3,
okay.
So the money will keep coming if that horse wins on Saturday, which we quite like in race 3 as well. Let's have a look at a different replay. Same track, same distance. 1,500 metres a few weeks ago actually now. Ruby Rampart's race since. What you don't see in this race is there's an incredibly strong tempo sent by the leader, Countess Marinoff. Ruby Rampart hits the lead 425 metres from home. And you think she's going to tire, but she doesn't, Stu.
No, off this strong tempo. Is she going to tire? Not there, not there, still not. Look what the other leader's doing along the rail, just going backwards.
Yeah, huge run, a huge spot rating, we call it, from on pace. The best of the on paces, and Wang Wah couldn't keep up. Maybe a senior jockey's better for her.
All right, well, let's have a look at one of the Melbourne Raiders on the day. Violent Snow. Interesting run here. We're not going to see it all, but this is the horse in the yellow that is wide.
Yeah, she was a bit keen early on the field and early on in the race, and she was back. She got pushed wide. That's data point on her inside. You want to see this Melbourne Raider and see if you want to back her or sack her. Some of these Raiders you want to do either with. You look at the form guide, you think maybe you can sack her, but finishing alongside data point against the boys, maybe we can't. That run was okay.
A few of our Melbourne viewers will beg to disagree with that with data point, but that's another story.
The ratings are all right.
Let's have a look at these key factors. We need an edge here in the last leg, Mike.
Yeah, good trackers, Philosophy, Girl Sunday. They're both going to like the good track, but Girl Sunday, is she reliable? She had absolutely every chance last start. She's been drifting in the market. Maybe she's not the most reliable type this prep, along with a few others, including Awoke. She's more than capable of putting in an absolute shocker, despite the fact she was so good first up. Down the page, Queen Misty, so reliable, crying out to win. Ruby Rampart 2, and she gets the gun run near pace.
All right, I'm looking there. Awoke, plenty of love in the betting, but no love in the key factors. We'll see what's more important after the race. But let's bring up these overall ratings, and we'll look. That tells me it's a pretty close race, but a slight margin there to Ruby Rampart and Philosophy there, so a bit of the same form line shaping up.
Yeah, a couple of similar form lines. It's So Obvious and Queen Misty come through the same form line we talked about. We saw Wang Wah before, so these mares' races are all tied together. Philosophy, not much luck last start. Most punters saw that. That's why she's so short. Ruby Rampart, 3 wide, no cover in the same race. She's so reliable. She's so tough. We love her, obviously. We saw the replay and we spoke highly of her, so she's our best bet in such a closely matched race. When you like one at odds each way, that's the only bet for us.
Yeah, you've got to love a horse that tries. There's a look at the fourth leg of the quaddie. Now, Mike, we've got to wrap this up. We got 3 legs of the quaddie last week. We had a little bit of a dead end with Stain, who, well, that was literally a dead end, wasn't it?
Dead end, yeah.
We've seen a few of these ratings, a couple of big odds for some of these horses near the top. I reckon this could go really large on Saturday.
I think it's going to be huge, and we want to be part of this ride.
Yes,
it's going to be the quaddie on Saturday afternoon. We're going big. We're going 4 by 5 by 6 by 7. The biggest risk is probably the first leg. We're leaving out a couple of really good Waller horses, including Zorcan. The 50-day breaks is too much for us to back him at those odds. Across to race 7, we've got the 3 unlucky horses, along with the 2 down the bottom of the weights, Leopari, Sultans of Swing with the same form line. Across to race 8, going really wide, including the 2 Mudgee horses, God bless them. Hopefully Most Exalted or even Richard the First wins at huge odds. And then race 9, if you're riding it to the last, let's go wide to make sure we nail it. All
right, only 11.9% there for the quaddie, but look, this is just going to be an exciting ride if you're anywhere near it. There's plenty of value this weekend. We're at Rosehill Gardens, Mike, and I know you just harp on about it every week. Horses with rip and that can sprint on that dry surface. They're the ones that are needed. You've got to check out all the big race profiles at theraceguide.com.au, and good luck on Saturday out there. It's going to be a great day at Rosehill, and I hope you jag a big piece of that quaddie this weekend.
Cheers, see you at the track.